Okay, powerful question number 7. Now, this is really important, and I'll share what it is, and then I'll explain a little bit more. So, before you allow any purchase contract to become unconditional, and that's at the point of no return. When something's unconditional, as you most likely already know, if you don't go ahead and finish the purchase, then the seller has certain rights that they can cause you a lot of trouble if you don't go ahead. So before you let yourself be in that position, ask yourself, now we're not asking the agent this time, we're actually asking ourselves this question. And the question is, if I were to put this property back on the market for sale as is, that is without doing anything to it, can I reasonably expect to still make at least, and then you fill in the blank. Now I'm not talking here you're making $100,000 or you're $200,000, probably there's something you need to do to the property to get the profit that you really want. But I believe you should still have the confidence that you can at least make something, even allowing for the costs of buying it, if you were just to turn around and sell it again and do nothing to it. And if you can't achieve that, basically if not, you've really got to be prepared to walk away unless you are absolutely convinced that you can add value and ensure a profitable outcome in a reasonable time frame. And why I do that little test, it's just a way to think, well, you don't want to pay more than someone else would pay. If you did, your circumstances could change. You might need to sell, you might not get the approval, you might have objections from neighbours, you might have all sorts of things get in the way. And if you've answered this and realised that you're still bought well enough that you could exit the property and still be a little bit in front, that gives you a sustainability that you can be willing to go forward. But absolutely, a lot of the time, being willing to walk away from something is really important. So whilst it's important to take action and put in offers and such, it's important that those offers are on the right property at the right price that gives you the right opportunity. Yeah, Christine?
Yeah, Jason, if asking that question, would that put the agent in the position where he's giving too much away of what he should offer? Of all the other questions it was to the agent, this particular question is actually for you to ask yourself. And what I mean by ask yourself is think about, just before you allow something to go further forward, what if it was me now wanting to sell this property? So you're sort of looking at it from your point of view as if you become the seller, like that current seller is. Could you expect to be able to sell it and get enough of a price back that you'll still be in front? So I wouldn't ask the current agent, but you might say, well, how do you know the answer to that? Right. And then the way you know the answer to that could be that you find another agent who's experienced in the local area, and you might say, look, I've got this property under contract that I'm considering, but it may well be that I don't go ahead. I just want to just check if I'm on the right track, and ask an independent agent who isn't receiving a benefit or having a consequence for whether you go ahead or not, or just do more research, or talk to others who you know are familiar with the area. It's something to satisfy yourself. I wouldn't expect the agent themselves to back you up on this and say, well, hang on, why should I guarantee you a profit? That just wouldn't be appropriate for them. Yeah, I appreciate the question, because so that one, that's so far of all the questions I've shared, this is the one that you're more internally asking yourself, or other people, but not the current agent that you're dealing with. So that helps give me peace of mind that I'm buying well, because I believe the two parts to making the most likely success in property is you're buying well, which means you're buying at the right price, the right sort of property you can benefit from, and secondly that you are adding value, like you're doing something to make the property worth more without just depending on the market, because the market, as we've seen certainly in the last couple of years, you can't just assume by buying a property that you automatically make money. So this is a little safety mechanism for that.
Jason, is there an example where you have asked yourself this question? And
usually what happens with this is it'll give me, if I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable, something like that, it may well be that I'll just pause, think of this, and just think, well, no, I actually think I'm paying a price that I couldn't really resell this at, and I'm not convinced that for the time frame I need that I'm going to be confident to get the profit I need. So it's like it gives me a chance to walk away. And so as for an actual example, one property, actually I put an offer in on a property I wanted to move in and live in. So this was like a bit of an emotional decision. And then during the cooling off period, with the first 5 days, like in Queensland we get 5 days regardless of other conditions to change our mind. And I think at the time I was being quite confident and I had the money, and I didn't put like subject to other stuff. I was trying to just buy where all I had was the cooling off period, I think. And I remember before the end of the cooling off period, I just started feeling really nervous and uncomfortable, and I couldn't answer that someone else would buy this property and I could at least make something doing nothing to it. So I was paying too much, and that gave me then the motivation to actually walk away from that purchase. And I paid a little fee because you do in the cooling off period if you don't go ahead. It's 0.25%. This is Queensland, I don't know other states and such. But so it's just an extra little, think of these things as tools in your toolbox. Every question can be like a tool that could give you a little bit of value towards what you're trying to achieve. And it may be that this question isn't right for you too. Like, I'm not saying that these are the questions for everyone. They just happen to be some questions that I'm comfortable with that help me along my decision making, help me feel that I'm moving in the right direction. One thing you could take away from this is to come up with your own questions. Yeah. So it might be that you would look at this in a different way. Or it might be that you might say, if you were to not be able to make a profit within a definite 9 months or less, maybe you should walk away. Maybe for you time is more, a factor that you haven't included there. Like, so there's different things, and that'll reflect on your individual situations. What you feel most comfortable with.
Is there also like a time where you have asked yourself that question and you could resell it for another value? And
sometimes I have. I bought a little block of land at one stage where I could actually just sell it without doing anything. It was just I bought it cheap enough and was thinking, great, I don't have to build on it, I don't have to do anything, I know I could just get more on that block. So that can lead you to that. But sometimes it's not that I need to be 100% satisfied with that answer. It's just like a precaution. See, it might be that I really can't sell it again right now and make money, but I know there's definitely something I can do to the property that will absolutely lead to that profit. And in that case, that may override my decision instead of this question to still go forward because I see the opportunity is there. But just consider it like a safety net or a firewall. It's another level of protection if you stop and check. And I put there on purpose before it becomes unconditional, because sometimes what we think at the start when we're putting in our offer and what research we might have done at the start, you may realise more further along just before it's about to become unconditional. And that is the point of no return. If you say that you're going ahead with the contract, as I say, the seller can they can sue you if you don't go ahead, or they can keep your deposit, or there's lots of things they can do. So just want to be careful. It's just a precaution. Okay, so those are the 7 powerful questions. Remember, make your own too, and just to get you thinking. It might not be these questions, but something you've thought of along the way that could help you feel more comfortable with putting in offers or asking questions of agents.